Hello everyone, this is Board Games and Bourbon. Right now I want to talk about Yukon Airways, which is a game I just opened. I've had it maybe 3 or 4 days. I've already played it a dozen times, solo and 2-player, and I'm really enjoying this game. It's a beautiful game about delivering people to their destination in the Yukon. Basically, there's very few steps, but every one of those steps can be mitigated and altered with and played with. The game is short, it's only 6 rounds, so it moves briskly. It's an upbeat light game with a lot of rewards, so it's not going to be really grinding, but what you are doing is really fun, and I would say this would strike a good beat with people who like the river or Ticket to Ride or Carcassonne, things kind of in that world. It's actually probably more strategically deep than those games, but it has that lightheartedness to it. So I'm going to talk generally about how it plays and then explain how the fun decisions play out from there. So what's going to happen in the game is you're going to get a color. You're going to get a player board. A player board has a bunch of upgrades you can get. We'll talk about that in a second because it's kind of like its own universe. But a lot of the play is over here. Let's start the game. You're going to roll a bunch of dice depending on the number of players, and you're going to lay them out. And they're kind of stratified based on what number there are. 1s go here, 2s go here, 3 goes here, all the way down to 6. And that's kind of like Corinth, if you ever played that. You also put a bunch of cubes out on this side of the board in various colors, kind of random draws. Again, it's related to the number of players. You're going to get a hand of cards to start the game, and what these do is they give you destinations that you turn in for different people, as well as they talk about the points you'll get if you go ahead and deliver people there. Okay, so you have these. Now what you're going to do is you're going to choose from all of these locations what customers you want to pick up. Generally, when you go to a spot, you can only get one color of die. Okay, so if I go to spot number 1, you get one color of die. I could pick this up. And when I pick these different locations, there's actually a little bonus that runs along the sides. If I go to spot 1, I just become the first player. Spot 2, I get to draw extra cards in my hand at the end of the round, or to start the round, depending on how you look at it. Over here, this allows me to actually put different colored dice on my card, 2 different colors. Here, this allows me to switch cards around and get fuel. Why do I want to switch cards around? Well, let's suppose, or I should say switch dice around. Well, suppose I wanted a bunch of pinks. I could move this over here. Normally I'd have to pay $1, but that spot would have let me do it for free in my area, and then I could have just yoink, picked up 2 pinks and put it on my boarding pass. Over here it's 2 gasoline. I need gas to fly places, and over here I can pay $1 and I can upgrade my board. Pretty important. So I not only want the dice, but I might want access to the powers. I might want to start building my engine to get me started. So just for our purposes, let's say I was here and I pick up my 1 pink. I take my pink, I put it over here on my boarding. Okay, now it's time to figure out the gasoline situation. So I have 1, 2, 3 gasoline left on this card. There were 4, 1's blocked by a die, I get 3. You normally start the game at 4 fuel. I'm going to bump it up with 3 extra, and now I'm at 7 fuel. Okay, now that's going to be important because I'm trying to get places. Now I need to decide where I want to go. When you start the game, you start in this area here called Whitehorse, and then you want to go somewhere. So let's just say I want to go to here, to where it says Tungsten. To get to Tungsten is going to be a travel line of 4. It's going to take 4 gas to get there, and I'm the blue player. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to look at my card. So I have anything that says Tungsten. I don't. Well, that's not the worst thing in the world. What I can do in that case is, if I don't have the destination I wanted to go, I basically take 3 cards and it becomes a wild. So I'm going to turn those upside down. Okay, now it's a wild. Now I can go to Tungsten. Okay, I'm going to put my die on there. It's loaded. I'm going to spend my 4 fuel to go there. So 7 goes down to 3. I have 3 left. I go over here, I move my plane here. Now, the die that I used a second ago is pink. There's a pink cube here, so because it matches, I get to pick it. If it didn't match, I could put a gray on my board. And then I take this, and I put it on my map here. Now you can see my map is actually set up from a game that I just played before this video. But I would put it in a city, whatever city I picked it from. So let's just say this, I picked it from Destruction Bay, just so there's a new cube there. When the die matches the cube, I get an upgrade on my board. And I'm going to talk about the upgrades to the board, okay? At the time that I'm boarding people, I could also play cards face up. And should I have 3 cards of the same? Let's see if I have that opportunity. I don't here, but if I had 3 cards of the same, like if I had 3 cards that had the gasoline, 3 cards that have a mechanical, a wrench on it, and there's others that have dollar signs on it, I get upgrades. And normally if you have 3 of a kind that are dollars, you get 3 money. If you have 3 gas can symbols, you get 2 gasoline added to your reserves. If I have 3 wrenches, I get an upgrade. I get to upgrade something on my board there. Okay, and let's see if we can get in there so you can see that. Okay, those are the upgrades. And then there's a collect income phase where you're going to get money equal to your highest destination. You can fly to multiple destinations if you can pull it off, but you get the money equal to your highest destination plus what was on your card, so the die. And then over here, you might meet some end game goal. There's a bunch of cards, like 9 cards or something, and you choose 3 for any game. In this case, what it says is that if I flew to 2 very specific locations, either Old Crow or Inuvik, I would have been able to get an upgrade to my board. If I used yellow dye on my trip, I get $1 per cube. And over here, if I used 7 gasoline on my flight, I could have gotten $2 extra. And the way you would get 7 gasoline is by not only having 7 gas in your plane, perhaps, you then went in and you traded cards for extra gas to complete a second flight. Okay, but everything I just mentioned there, all those steps of the game are actually in flux. Okay, so, and let's talk about what these bonuses do, and you'll see how they play in. Okay, well, like I said, you start with some gasoline, but you can also do upgrades. And you can either trade in cars or go to a spot that gives you an upgrade. And normally to get that upgrade, you pay $1. Okay, and here, this lets you have bonus gas every round. Right? And it's not only once. It says 0, 1, 2, 3, so you might get up to 3 bonuses. Here, it lets you trade in a card for extra gas. So before, it said you had to trade in 3 cards for 2 gas. Now it's 1-to-1, a better ratio. 0, 2, 4 goes up to 6. Here, it lets you increase your hand size. Normally in the game, you start with like a hand size of 3, sometimes 4. This lets you increase it up. So that means you have more options, not only in where to go, but more cards you could burn by turning upside down to make it a wild, or you're turning them in to get that 3 set of cards to get bonuses. Here, it lets you draw more cards per turn, and you start out with maybe 2, then you go up to 3, 4, 5, and again, you want more options. You want those more cards. Over here, what you can do, you can just start investing in straight points, and you can see right here, I got it to where I got 20 points at the end of the game. Pretty cool. Then you have these are always active. This will let you put 2 dice on 1 card. Pretty important, because now I don't need multiple tickets. And if I don't need multiple tickets, maybe I can turn those tickets in for my upgrades or for my wilds or whatever. Here, you're going to get $2 for every bonus that you get. Here, instead of trading in 3, if I do this upgrade, now I only have to trade in 2. Here, I can switch die between locations twice and not have to pay. Here, now I can put 2 different colored die on a boarding card. Okay, now, if you combine this, if you get this bonus here, and you get this bonus here, now you can put 3 different colors on your thing, and then you have a lot of opportunity to go to different locations and get those die. Here, instead of turning in 3 cards to make it a wild, now you only have to do 2. And then you're going to get $2 for your most populated colored cubes. It's like however many yellows you have in the game or something like that. And at the end of the game, you're going to get points based on how much money you have and how many destinations you went to. And I found that through the combinations of everything I was doing, when I was getting cards, when I was burning the cards to get rid of it, when I was burning it to get the upgrades, they really helped me kind of be subversive and get around the standard play and let me do things. So a lot of times what I was doing was I got the situation where I upgraded some things and not other things. And an example of that would be I would do things like I, in some games, would invest in shifting all my dice here so I can pick up multiple dice. Well, instead of doing that, I invested in the power that just lets me take 2 different dice. I didn't always invest in upgrading how many cards I could draw or keep in my hand. Instead, I invested in the power to let me put multiple dice on the cards. So there's many ways to skin the cat in this game. Had a lot of fun with it. The colors are great. The bits are fun. Everything is high end. The cards feel really great in the hand. And they just look good. The whole palette, really, really enjoyable. Games seem to go pretty fast. I would say half an hour. So anyway, that is Yukon Airways. Give it a look if you haven't. It's pick up and deliver. And if you have questions about specifics, this isn't a rules video, but it is the things I appreciate about it. But I am happy to answer questions about rules. So again, thank you, friends. Take care. I hope this was useful. Ask away. Talk to you next time. Bye.